With Agisoft Metascape, I import all the photos I made with the photogrammetry standard I showed before. And with this I add, normally I add approximately a 300 to 400 images. These images are then aligned in a way that the application knows where they were taken, so it can calculate the model I photographed. As you can see, now all the photos are done. That is, almost all the photos, because most of the time some of the photos didn't align good. So I have to align them manually, and that's what I'm doing now. As you can see, the NA are the photos that aren't aligned yet, and you see them now in a different color. Most of the time I am able to align every photo I took. Now he is generating the depth maps in order to get an actual 3D model. What it now basically does is building a point cloud that calculates the distance derived from the photos in order to get an actual 3D model in the next step. And now it's building the mass. And there it is. I am now making a texture map, so it's UV mapped right now, in order to be able to use this. I do that every time, but in the end I don't use it as a final color, but as a way to get the final mesh right. So I'm now zooming in and I'm putting the model in the middle so I can use it later on in ZBrush. As you can see, the model isn't that detailed, but it's good enough to work with. And so now I'm exporting it as an OBJ and importing it into ZBrush. This is basically it. I'm determining the symmetry of the model and duplicating it to be sure. As you saw right now, I split the model into parts, and the reason for that is because there's a lot of debris around the model which I want to get rid of. Most of the time the part of the model that I have and that I can use is the biggest part, and the rest I can throw away. So that's what I'm doing now. So this is the cleaned up scan, and as you can see, you see all the shapes well, but part of the model is in the clay. So I'm removing the clay right now. As you can see, this is removing the clay. It's not deleted yet. I'm doing that later, because if I delete it immediately and I make a mistake, I have to redo it. So this is removing the clay, and now I'm deleting the hidden parts. I'm going to duplicate this one again, and I am going to put it into the correct orientation, because now it uses the scanned one, but I want it to to be workable, as you can imagine. So that's what I'm doing right now. And the reason also for this is because if I if I put it in the right orientation, I am able to duplicate the model, mirror it, and use the symmetry within the model to work further. Because as you can see, the left side is correct, the right side isn't. Always save your model in between. So here I'm duplicating it, and the first thing I am doing is trying to mirror it, but I've noticed the pivot point isn't correct, so I need to I'm always having problems with the pivot point, so that's that's still an issue. But I'm doing it like this right now. And as you can see, the pivot point was really not in place. So this is it. Check. Yeah. Now it's done. And I'm still having problems, so I'm going back. Okay, well, good enough. And as you can see, I'm trying to align them in such a way that the left and the right side are the correct size and the correct orientation. Okay, so I went back to this one, and I'm trying to get everything in order, because as you can see, it's one of the hardest parts to get it right. And first of all, regarding the orientation, what I use is the skull in the top right corner. That makes it easier to know which orientation I need to use. And I'm using the floor, and as you can see, it's now basically, and I need to, yep. So now the orientation is as I want it to be. And basically this is not the orientation it has in the body itself, but it's an orientation that helps me work this specific model of the atlas. Okay, now saving again. Yep. And duplicating it and mirroring it. Deformation X. Yep. Going back to the subtools, and now I'm going to make sure that the mirrored copy is in its right place. And it's not easy to do this, and as you can see, I made some errors here, but it's good enough for now, and it shows the process. deleting the broken part, deleting the broken part at that side. Okay, and now I'm putting everything into a folder, because as you can see there still is I still need to do a lot of work, and this is what I did now here is wrong. I made them, I put them together too tight, so but I in the original one I didn't do this. If I would be working on this one, I still needed to do a lot of tweaking and tugging and so on, because this isn't right. Anyhow, this is basically how I make sure both models are aligned and fit together. So, the brush I'm using enables me to use part of the model without moving the rest. And as you can see here, I'm trying to correct the error I made, but I put them together too tight, so I will have to pull them out again later on, but I'm not going to do that because this is only for demonstration purposes, and this isn't the actual atlas I am using for the mouse model. Okay, so this is tedious work. It has to be done, and I have to be careful not to move any of the correct mesh, but in the end I will use the photos of the original atlas and will check everything. If it's correct, I will measure it. I will use the measurements of the original atlas and will tweak it until it has the actual measurements. Okay, back again. As you can see, here is the background showing, and the model is a bit out of whack because I'm going to try to align them, and as you can see, yeah, move, scale, okay. So this basically is the orientation, and as you noticed, you see here the background showing because this model is too narrow, and I will activate symmetry and do it like this, up. And now I don't activate symmetry of and so hop. And I have to be careful because even though I aligned it right now with the background image, this background image isn't straight on, so I need to be careful with trying to change the shape of the model itself, because that would probably not be okay. Okay, I'm duplicating it and I am trying to remove some of the background stuff. Oh, biggie. Hop. Ah, kijk. Perfect. Okay, so I'm deleting this, modify, delete hidden, and I am going to so okay. I'm careful not to delete too much, because I'm going to close it now, because this side is orientated like this, as you can see here, but these are a lot larger and I need to remodel them. So, just a moment. Now I'm going to use symmetry. Okay, going to use the move tool. Okay, and I'm afraid it's my rooster you hear now. Yeah. I'm going to dynamesh it once again, because you see spikes like this will then be removed. Okay, and again, and now it's almost gone. Okay, this is a lot of work. But basically this is how I do it, and as you can see, the foramen in the original atlas aren't represented in the physical characteristics of the model, but they are in the texture. And what I'm now going to do is I'm going to add a subtool. Just a moment, I'm going to duplicate this one again. I'm going to make a new folder. make it Boolean, or name it Boolean because the name doesn't do anything. I'm going to append a cylinder, and this cylinder is scaled back to a size. Oh, that's too big, that's too big. Just a moment. Going to do this. Okay, now I'm going to add the floor again, because then I can see the this is the foramen here, and I need another image to check on the other foramen, on the other side, but I will show the purpose or the process I am doing it, but I'm not going to show everything regarding this, because that will take too much time. Okay, I'm going to orientate it a bit as needed. The exit point of the foramen is about here, I know. So okay. So as you can see, I'm going to move it into place. Okay. And so, whoop, so, whoop, whoop. Ooh, so, going to remove this one again. Okay. Okay. Ugh. It's almost done. It looks like a strange place, but in the final model, I will show you that I put it in the correct place. The foramen of the atlas of the mouse are a bit different than those of the rat. The atlas of the mouse has in total three holes in it, and the foramen of the rat is straightforward in and out. Okay, so I made this one, and now I'm going to duplicate it, and I am going to, just a moment, move it along, mirror it. Oh, and whoop. Nope, just up, up, so mirror it. Is it? Yeah, it's about done. Yeah. Okay. Now I'm going to merge those two. Okay. So now I have the atlas and the cylinder in one folder. And before I do this, I am going to make a Boolean out of this, and for that I need to change the circles here into this one, so ZBrush knows what to do. And now I'm going to Boolean the folder. It will take some time, and here it is. Nope. I'm not sure what happened. Oh, I'm sure what happened. Here it is. As you can see, 2 holes. And by smoothing them out and moving the sides along, I will be able to get the shape of the foramen correct. Okay, that's it regarding this. This model will be refined, and then I'm going to the next step. The next step is this. Okay. Well, as you can see, this is a different version from the one I showed you before, but this basically is what I did with the final model. And as you can see, here are some of the holes, but this is the next one frame, and I did the frame, the second hole or the third hole, as you can see here, and those two are aligned together, and this is the final result. So 1, 2, 3 holes, and this one, as you can see, has a very dense mesh. So this is not workable because, as you can see, the total points are way up. And to be able to UV map it and so on, I have to remesh it. And remeshing is done here. Here you are remeshing the model, keep the creases, detect the edges. I'm not keeping the groups because these groups are not the groups I want, would have to want here. But sometimes you want to have groups within the remesh, so you're able to use them in UV mapping and so on. Anyhow, this is the final result. So this is the final result of the remesh, and it looks almost perfect. And this is basically it. What I'm now going to do after this is cranking up the subdivisions, adding the smaller details, being able to see which part is smooth, which part has muscle attachments on them, which part has veins and so on near them. I'm going to paint it and so on and so on. But this is basically how it works.